Welcome to the CPG Guys podcast. Your hosts, Shri Rajagopalan and Peter V. Espan, explore how brands and retailers engage consumers in an increasingly digitally driven world. And now, here are the CPG Guys. Hello and welcome to a very special episode of the CPG Guys podcast. We are in Las Vegas for the annual GroceryShop conference, but that's not what makes this an extra special episode. It's extra special because it's a crossover episode with our sister podcast, the FMCG Guys. Normally, I'm on doing this podcast with my partner, Shri, but today I've got my BFF from Europe. He's Daniel Torres-Dwyer. He's better known as the host of the FMCG Guys. Daniel, how are you, man? Welcome.
I'm doing well. Enjoying Vegas. A bit dry, but enjoying it nonetheless.
So this year you've been to Shop Talk. You've been to Shop Talk Europe. You've been here, and then you're going back over to London next week for Retail Media Summit UK. You're a busy person.
Do you want me to do like an enumeration of the events? Retail Media Canada.
Oh, yeah, you did Canada. You're all over the place. You're like, I thought we made a deal that when we split up the world, you were supposed to take, I was taking the Americas and you were going to take the rest of the world. And I see you start seeping into Canada. I see you talking to some people down in Brazil and South America. Like, what are you doing? You're like encroaching into my territory. We're going to have a little conversation over hegemony.
Whenever you like. I'm just like trying to be close to you so you give me some more love, you know?
You're like a barnacle on the side of the whale.
I'm just a kid trying to get your attention. Am I calling myself
a whale? I don't know if that's good. But seriously though, Daniel, so great to do this with you. We love creating content. We love sparking conversation. And when we started this podcast, about 4 years ago, you know, we were talking and getting a lot of feedback from our listeners saying, hey, can you start integrating in some European flavor? And we realized pretty quickly that we didn't have enough bandwidth on our podcast to do that. That's when Shri and I turned to some people we'd known from our past, you and Efrain, to say, hey, how would you guys be interested in bringing together the format of conversation that we were doing around FMCG and retailer over to Europe. And I'm so glad we did, because now you're like 17,000 followers on LinkedIn. You're killing it, man.
I can't remember life without being part of the CPG Guys family. So
we have a big family.
That's telling.
So listen, it's really great, and I hope you're enjoying yourself at GroceryShop. It's a great event, isn't it?
Just your company makes me enjoy it.
Oh, now you're kissing up way too much. All right. Well, listen, thank you, and looking forward to spending a couple more days with you here, and then we'll get back together on the East Coast at the end of the week.
Likewise. We're going for a New Haven pizza.
We're going to do a little New Haven pizzeria extravaganza. For those of you listening to this podcast, I don't care what you say. It's not Chicago. It's not New York. The pizza capital of the world. Of the new world. Okay, of the new world.
Some Napolitan in the audience is getting very angry.
There's some people in Italy that are getting a little irate right now. But of the new world is New Haven. It's the four horsemen. It's Frank Pepe's, it's Sally's, it's Modern, and it's Zupardi. So we're going to try and hit up the pizzerias and let you decide what your favorite is.
I'm getting hungry already.
Okay.
By the way, for our audience, if they're listening to us, which is the usual way to connect with us, they can also see this podcast record in video, since we're doing it in a studio. So if you're listening to this, look at the show notes and you'll see us. Lucky enough to see us live, and Peter with a very special T-shirt on.
Oh, I'm rocking my FMCG Guys T-shirt. So yeah, absolutely. You know that we love swag in the podcast world. We do. All right. So enough with us. Let's get on to our episode today. You know, Daniel, in today's omnichannel world, retailers are very focused on growing shopper value, boosting retail sales, improving marketing and loyalty performance, and ultimately enriching their media and data networks, which are incredible components of this transformation that's going into retail media and using data to drive how you engage consumers. Meanwhile, brands are really seeking to bring new shoppers in, particularly during the aftermath of the pandemic, which led to massive inflation, supply chain pressures, and people started trying lots of new brands. They're trying to recapture that brand loyalty, right? And help expand their brand reach and impact in partnership with the retailers that are selling their products. So it's a big issue, right?
So much happening. Like like after COVID, or the COVID and the lockdown and so on, we kind of thought, okay, we're going to go back to where we were. And there was a moment, like maybe a few months, where there was a bit of like an impasse between the two moments. But then like with the retail media explosion, it's like everything is blowing up.
I know, it's crazy. So here to help make some sense and speak to us about how TCC is inspiring loyalty and creating value for retailers and the brands they sell is the CEO of TCC. So please join Daniel and me in welcoming to the podcast, Rick Swinkels. Rick, how are you?
I'm good. It's nice to hear you pronounce my name. But it's
I hope
it's
I did it right.
You did it perfectly well.
Okay, good.
Yeah. It's a Dutch name, so
I didn't know.
Well, see, that's the thing is I'm Dutch.
Yeah.
My name is I go by PVSB.
Oh, yeah.
My middle name is VS Van Sicklen.
Oh well.
So yes, in fact, it's funny. I don't talk about this much on the podcast, but Van Sicklen, we trace ourselves back to a fellow by the name of Ferdinandus Van Sicklen, who was one of the first Dutch settlers of New Amsterdam before it was New York City.
It's already an insightful podcast.
And just to mention, if you're ever in Brooklyn, we have a big cemetery full of dead Van Sicklens right there in Brooklyn. So yes.
And is there like a metro stop called?
We have 3 subway stops in New York City named Van Sicklen. So yes, so it's always good to welcome
it's
a fellow
pleasure
Dutchman.
to meet you,
William.
So how are you enjoying Vegas, first of all?
Well, I really love being here. I was at GroceryShop also last year, but of course Vegas is always amazing to be. But this convention is really, really vibrant. It's nice. You have all these companies coming together. You have retailers, you have digital companies, data companies, media companies, and a lot of startups. And it's vibrant. It's difficult to describe when you're not there.
It's such an incredible community of people. Yeah. Everyone focused around how we leverage technology, data, insights to engage consumers in a more efficient and effective way. Yeah. Because that's the thing is we live in this area, and I know we'll talk about this, of really big data, but it's what do you do with it? How do you make sense of it? And how does it ultimately impact the ability to let brands and retailers connect with consumers and drive value for everyone?
Yeah, and so it's super relevant for all of these companies, but also you had a CEO of big retail companies that presented. They did some talks, and it was very insightful because they share their strategy and they share how they are approaching this topic. I mean, retail has never been more under pressure, so to say, or never been more undergoing change, and it's really fascinating to hear them speak and. To have all these companies together in one place.
Yeah, there's definitely a long list of challenges and opportunities as well at the same time.
For sure.
So Rick, just for the audience to get to know you a bit better, can you tell us a bit about TCC and your role as CEO?
Yeah, so TCC is a marketing company. It's a retail performance company. We are one of the global leaders when it comes to what we do. We are a privately owned company. We are in this industry over 30 years. A lot of things that you see in our industry are also stuff that's invented by us. We are a global company. We are operating in 70 countries. We work with many, if not all, of the largest food retailers. Our relationship with our clients are based on trust because we built these campaigns that really drive specific behavior. And what makes us unique is our ability to reward specific behavior in a way that delivers unbelievable return on investments, much higher than any other alternative that a retailer has.
That is a great story. Thanks for helping us understand that. So before we get into what you're doing at TCC, what I'd like to know about your background, some of the pivotal experiences in your career that you think prepared you for the role you're now in. I know you joined TCC a number of years ago, and then were after that elevated up to CEO.
Yes.
What do you think were some of the big things you did in your career that really prepared you for this and kind of launched you into this space of helping retailers build loyalty with their consumers?
Yeah. Well, there's a couple of funny facts. So my family name is Swinkels. That means of the stores in Dutch. So that's already the first thing.
Oh, wow. You're literally
I was made for this. I was made. No, but what is true is I've worked in retail all my life. I started working in retail when I was 14 years old. Loved it like crazy. Yeah. And for instance, I started replenishing shelves, but then quickly it was all in a local store. But I managed a local fresh department and started doing my first loyalty campaigns, actually. It came a few years later that I realized it, but I started creating a lot of new stuff, like putting in promotions that were not there, or asking people to try new stuff. And I just had one objective, and that was to double sales. And the store manager didn't really like what I was doing in the beginning, because he said, you're giving away way too much. But it's he changed his mind after.
You got to spend to grow.
Yes, absolutely. But that's where it started. That's where it started. And I finished my university. After university, I started my career at Ahold Delhaize. Spent the first 16 years in that company in a variety of roles. Worked in 4 different countries. Did a lot of different things in operations, in marketing, in product development, business development. And the last 5 years I spent to work in loyalty globally. So I was reporting into the board and running loyalty globally for Ahold Delhaize. And that is, you asked me about some of these important moments in my career. That is when I got to know our industry, and that changed everything. We had some challenges in making our shoppers more loyal. We were having, over a longer period of time, some downward trends, and because we had invested a lot in our data capabilities, it became painfully visible what was happening. And then, out of one of the initiatives we had was, let's try to do these short-term loyalty campaigns that we had heard of, which we didn't really believe that would work, but we thought, well, let's give it a try. Now, to place things a little bit into perspective, my global role was to drive incremental sales growth by 2%. That became impossible. Then we reduced it to 1%. And we were reporting to our board like all these initiatives that we were doing across all of the banners of Ahold globally. And we had one initiative that did 0.1%, another one did 0.2%, but those were really high scores. And then we did this one. And I will never forget that campaign, that first campaign kicking off, and us not believing these numbers. And it led to a close to 4% identical sales growth at Albert Heijn at that time. Wow. And I remember reporting this progress to at that time the CEO of Ahold, Dick Boer, one of the best retailers that I think that I've ever got to work with. And I sent him a pre-read, and we started the meeting. And I said, I read it, and thank you for sending it, but I think you made a mistake. You said it was 4%, but it must be 0.4%. No, it's actually 4%. So and then
did you see his mouth start to smile?
Well, it was fascinating, and I remember when we started seeing these first results that we couldn't believe it, and we had multiple systems to sort of check what was happening, and they all showed the same numbers,
same results, yeah.
And that was when we really knew we've got something.
You were onto something.
Yeah, absolutely.
That could be 100%, sustainable.
100%. So that led me to do more of that. It also changed the strategy of Albert Heijn and Ahold, because now they keep running these campaigns. But it also meant for me that I got so fascinated about this industry that I joined the industry.
You caught the bug.
Absolutely.
And the next thing
that was like 8 years ago.
Loyalty was where you were going to focus.
Yeah, for sure. And in my current role, I have the pleasure of working with all these global retailers, and it's predominantly CEOs and CMOs that take these decisions to work with us, and that makes it fascinating. So I'm still doing whatever I did when I was 14 years old. I'm trying to run stores.
The great thing is you now get to do with something you love that you grew up doing, and that's the best kind of job to have.
Yes, it is. It's not a job. It's really it's
a passion.
It is. Yeah, and that's also why it's so cool to be here.
Yeah, it's a great time to be in this. Yeah. Being in an environment at GroceryShop with so many people like-minded, very passionate about this business. It's very infectious.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. And speaking about Ahold, I know that Albert Heijn, we've had them on the podcast. Yes. I know they're really good at loyalty and retail these days.
They are. So. Well, also yesterday at Shop Talk, you had Frans Muller, for instance, presenting, and then he for instance presented that personalization that the shoppers that they offer personalized promotions to. They have an uplift of 9% versus shoppers where they don't do that. I mean, those are impressive numbers.
Yeah.
That's it. When you can deliver a highly relevant message to a very targeted audience, you're going to see results. That's just the way it works.
Yeah. And that was also, so what I also found fascinating yesterday, for instance, you had Chris Nicholas, the CEO of Sam's Club, and he was also saying that every shopper that was connected digitally with them had a 9 times higher uplift than any other one. I mean, it's a different business model, but still it shows the relevance of it.
Okay.
Yeah, that retail is still retail, but there's some differences. So how would you define TCC's proposition, and what's your vision also as a CEO in line with that?
Yeah, well, I think a lot of retail is being disrupted, like in at a speed we have never seen before. I mean, that's you speak about that at a daily level, so nothing new there. But we really want to help our clients to get there faster. So retail is having some struggles when it comes to price and value and how to really make the right offer, but it's also about being relevant for shoppers. That's where data monetization comes in, because the more relevant you are, the better you can monetize the shopper experience, and the better shopper experience you can offer, that attracts more shoppers, more traffic. That you can then monetize much better. And of course, and that's also what we were hearing already yesterday. It's all about omnichannel, connecting with that shopper across all these multiple touch points.
There is no I only shop e-commerce.
No, absolutely
There
not.
is no I only shop in store.
No.
And people walk into a grocery store with this little device called a smartphone.
Yeah.
And their ability to gain knowledge about the products they're buying or the lifestyle they're trying. If you think about it as one end or the other, not this fluid jumping in and out of commerce, doing it however they want, you're not gonna win in this economy, are you?
Absolutely. I remember when I was still at OWL looking at this, because we were at that time already heavily investing in omnichannel and all of that. And then we found out already that you had shoppers that only visited offline, so brick and mortar. Mm-hmm. And then you had shoppers that only placed online orders. So then they had only home delivery. Yep. And those shoppers represented double the basket size of a regular shopper. And then you had the ones that did both across both channels. And those were the double amount of that.
They were the most valuable.
Absolutely.
Because they are loyal to the retailer, and they're engaging them based upon the trip mission they have, the convenience level that they want at that particular moment. There are a whole lot of 100%. Factors. And if you're not everywhere your customers want to be, you're not going to retain them.
No, it's true. And that's at TCC, we work with all of these global retailers. And we have the privilege to be working. We are closely working with the CMOs and CEOs, because when they run a campaign with us, it's a big investment, which has a huge return on investment. But still, it's a big decision. So, and then we always enter into these conversations. So, and that's where we come in. We help retailers get there faster.
And how do you set the vision for your team, to Daniel's question earlier about making sure that they're laser focused on addressing the needs of these customers?
Yeah, so I really want us to disrupt the industry.
I love that word, disruption.
Yes, no, and we're going to do it.
That's a great word.
We are already starting.
That's what we're trying to do, like incremental change.
No. That's fundamentally wrong.
Disrupt.
Our industry has an incredibly strong background, heritage.
Yeah.
Because we got to work with all of these retailers, and we know what works. We run over 10,000 campaigns, and what makes our company unique is that we have the ability to recognize, reward specific behavior, and then reward that. That's where the industry comes from, with physical rewards. So there's lots of data companies, there's lots of consulting companies, but there's not only a few companies that can actually bring it together.
All right.
So that's our heritage.
We're going to tease this out in the next couple of questions for you. So I'm going to set it up and lob it over to Daniel. But here's my first question.
Yes.
So what are the things that are top of mind to the retail customers that you're talking to? What's keeping them up at night right now? What are they trying to figure out how to get a handle on to compete in this economy?
That's a really nice question. So first of all, every retailer, and that's not new, but it's always about price, and value, how to offer value. That's the first thing.
Price isn't necessarily value to every consumer, right?
No, true. No, it's like the combination of it. So for some shoppers, it's only price. Yeah. But I really believe that the most successful retailers are the ones that focus on value. And value can be convenience, it can be product quality, it can be the shopping experience, it can be the quality of a store, it can be a private label.
And the challenge is being able to use the data.
Yes.
To understand
spot on
what value means to each and every one of your customers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And that is, so it's about recognizing shoppers, and it's about offering the value that's relevant to them.
Okay.
So that's one. The second thing is how to be relevant.
Yes.
And that comes also very closely to your ability to understand your shoppers, your ability to translate data. But it goes much deeper, because data only shows the correlation, not the motivation. And
so
that is
it's the behavioral versus
100%.
It's the who, what, where, when, but not necessarily the why.
True.
There you go. So you're saying you need to understand all of those components.
Yes.
The motivation to actually, and then that you're looking. So what I hear you saying is, in other words, propensity signals. What are the signals that help you understand what drives shopper propensity?
Yes, and here's something that you also speak about a lot, but the average shopper does not exist. And retail comes from optimizing, basing everything on the average shopper. And today there is an incredible focus on personalization and on true understanding of shoppers. And that was also what I found so fascinating yesterday at Shop Talk. You hear all people speaking about, for instance, Gen Z, and how important that group of shoppers is going to be. And they are all about the experience. All about the experience. So there you have it already. That it's not about price. And I learned that also early on in my career. We were at a given moment, we were in a price war, and we were lowering our prices, and we were literally giving away money or losing money by lowering prices. Mm-hmm. But it led to nothing.
Wow.
Yeah, interesting. No, and it's true. Like when you think about like retailers that are example of success, some of them are like very low price.
Yes.
And that's what you go for.
Yeah.
But the others are like great experiences.
100%. But also, for instance, private labels. That's so also Frans Muller yesterday was talking about that. He said it's not a product, because you can, with a private label as a retailer, you can decide how you position it as in terms of quality, in terms of ingredients, in terms of sustainability.
And private label doesn't have to be just one thing. You can have one that's focused on the price value proposition. Another can be focused on the quality value proposition. And so good retailers understand who their shoppers are and then build their private label to address, to your point, not the average shopper, but using data to build segments of shoppers, understanding how important each of those segments are, and saying, okay, if this segment is important enough, then we need to bring products that are relevant to that segment.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
100%.
exactly it.
And also in the path to purchase, the touch points have they are so much more touch points than just a few years ago. It's exponential if you compare it.
Yeah. And what can retailers do about all these things?
These issues that you've kind of surfaced.
Well, I think they are so. We look at it across these three angles. So it's price and value. We believe that we can offer value beyond price. So when retailers engage with our solutions, they are offering something that is the value of that is uncomparable to promotions, price of coupons. That's one. The second thing is it's completely unique, so it cannot be copied. If retailer A lowers prices, retailer B follows. If retailer A does a
that's
promotion,
just a race to the bottom, isn't
that's
it?
true. That's true. And retailer B follows. What's unique about our solutions is at TCC, we literally look at the individual situation of the retailer. We look at what the shopper demographic looks like. We look at which behavior we want to reward. And then we build these campaigns in an incredibly tailored way that recognizes certain shoppers and rewards certain behavior. And that is unique for that retailer during a short amount of time. And that cannot be copied by a competitor. So at that time, that retailer is rewarding their shoppers in a completely unique way.
Okay. I want to remind our audience that today, Daniel and I, in this special crossover episode, are speaking with Rick Swinkels. He is the CEO of TCC. So we talked about what keeps them up at night. You gave us a little indication about what retailers can do about it. How does TCC help those retailers do that? What primarily are you doing to help them achieve these objectives on the things that are keeping them awake at night?
Yeah. So we help them offer value that is completely unique. So in a way that is highly valuable to their shoppers. So that's one. We help them build very unique experiences. So, for instance, we work with companies like MasterChef and Netflix and many others. So we use these brand partners to really build an experience for the shopper. And that is what what elevates these campaigns and what creates awareness
so
and
that
engagement.
Seems to me when we're talking about a grocery retailer and then you're bringing in Netflix, that's a non-endemic experience that you're bringing in that enriches the overall commerce that's going on with stuff that's relevant to them. So that's really bringing in other valuable assets to make that unique experience.
Yes, and I'm really proud because Netflix was not active in our business and they choose to partner up with us. We are the global exclusive partner with them. But also MasterChef, for instance, here in the US with Kroger, we ran a campaign with them. They never did something like this. And it was the results were incredibly impressive.
What was the campaign about, if I can ask?
It was shoppers could earn a collection of free MasterChef knives. High quality knives. It was a set of knives. So all of these campaigns are set up in a unique way that it's the quality
so you're not
of the
going to go to 4
reward.
different retailers and see the same campaign.
No. They do as much as possible. They do their shopping at Kroger and they change behavior. And that also came out of this campaign. So you see shoppers coming more often, visiting more often. You see them putting more of their spending to Kroger and not to other retailers. And also here, also for Kroger, that team and 8451, you worked with them in the past, so you know them. But they couldn't believe the results when they saw them as well. So we overperformed big time.
So in terms of actually being able to, one, deliver those campaigns, but what I also heard you say very clearly is you have to measure the performance.
Yes.
I have to imagine that's a very important component of what TCC is delivering to its retail clients.
And thank you for saying that. It's the starting point of everything we do. So we literally look at what is the goal, what is the objective, how do we set this campaign up, what is the reward, what is the behavior we want to reward, and how do we set it up in such a way that it stretches shoppers. Not too much, but also not too little, because otherwise those campaigns are not effective. And it's duration and spend, and there's a lot of metrics behind it. But and that's the beauty behind it. It looks simple, and it is simple because it needs to be simple for shoppers. They need to instantly understand and get. If I do this, I get that.
Yes.
But the
thing they're getting is something that you've already figured out to a large degree.
Yes.
They're going to be delighted by.
We really know because we've done it so much, and we are incredibly data focused. So we are pretty accurate in our forecasts.
Okay.
But it looks simple, but there is a lot of details behind it.
There's a lot of iceberg below the waterline, is what you're telling me.
But that's also in retail. It looks easy to just have a store looking nice and being replenished. It's
much
not
more
easy.
Than that.
Yeah.
And we know that like the value creation is super important.
Yeah.
But the reality is that there is a price war out there.
Yes.
And as Peter said, it sounds like a bit of a race to the bottom. Like,
yes.
How do you see that? And how can you win like an unwinnable war?
How do you keep them from that race, from entering that race to the bottom?
Well, we try. We at TCC, we really believe that price wars are unwinnable. I mean, it's sort of sometimes retailers try to reposition them, and I've been guilty of that as well at Albert Heijn, and it worked. It was necessary.
Short term,
but long term, there is a lot of value that it's just gone, and it's very difficult to get that back. So what we try to do is offer something else. We offer value beyond price. And that is to the retailer, because these campaigns, every dollar you put in, you get back multiple dollars in terms of revenue and therefore also a margin. So that's one. But more importantly, for the shopper, the shopper gets something that is much more valuable than a coupon or a price off or whatever. And that is what makes it unique. And
they can't get that from just another retailer offering a lower price.
Exactly. And the rewards are built in such a way that they are, because that's the beauty of it, of having that we ran so many of these campaigns. We built these rewards that they are high quality, but that they are typically products that shoppers wouldn't buy because the quality is too high, or they would be too expensive typically. Mm-hmm. But now they can collect. And it's most of the cases food-related items, so for in the kitchen or houseware. But it's a high-quality range. Because maybe you have it as well in your house. You have a combination of knives you bought many years ago and some that you recently bought, or plates or whatsoever. But now all of a sudden, shoppers can collect beautiful, high-quality ranges, and you can all of a sudden you can decorate your table in the most beautiful way, and not have all these different plates.
There you go. No more hodgepodge of like the family.
But isn't that amazing?
Collections.
No, but to answer your question, that is value.
It is.
It is not about this coupon that's just another printing of a dollar. This is value, and it is. You know what you got to do. You change your behavior over a longer period of time as a shopper, but then you get this reward, and that's when loyalty gets really built.
Because you value the outcome of the reward.
Yes,
and the outcome could be I save money. It could be I delighted my family when they came over for this big holiday.
Yes.
It can be I pampered myself for the everyday purchases that I make with getting something a little extra.
And you can do that because your retailer rewards your loyalty and says thank you to you.
So Rick, we talked a little bit earlier in our conversation about Omnichannel and the implications that it have.
Yeah.
What in particular is TCC focused on in initiatives around enabling omni-channel delight for consumers and building long-term loyalty value?
Yeah, I already told you that TCC has this heritage of rewarding offline behavior, but in our DNA, it is to reward loyalty in general. And now in retail, you see that everything is like this shopper journey omnichannel. So everything we do, all of our tools, all of our solutions are built around driving omnichannel behavior, whatever that behavior may be. So from where we came from, having displays in stores and printing leaflets and all of that, that's still what we do, but that's just a minor part of our business. Now it's really about how we help retailers drive, interact with their shoppers. We have a wide variety of digital solutions for that. How we count points, how we reward specific behavior. So that's at the core of our business. We also help retailers to deploy omnichannel loyalty solutions because we have them, they're scalable and they're built that they can easily be implemented in a retail digital environment. And sometimes it helps retailers to simply get there faster. So that's what it is. And then what we also very recently announced is that we have invested in a partnership with a digital company, and that rewards omnichannel behavior in a way that has not been seen before. It's completely unique, not only in our industry, but like in general. And what it does, we can recognize and reward any behavior, any time of any individual shopper on any social media platform.
Interesting.
Yes, it's very interesting and completely unique.
What does that mean in a practical sense?
It means that so we add an emotional connection to a transaction. That's what we stand for. What it means is that, for instance, if I'm a retailer and I want to, this is actually what happened. So it's Albertsons, for instance, in the US did this with us at the beginning of this year. People after Christmas and the holiday season, everybody has these really good intentions to live healthy, to lose weight, to do more exercise, and they launched a really impressive campaign, and that was a 28-day challenge. And they challenged their shoppers to live healthy. And they had a wide variety of challenges. It can be prepare a healthy breakfast, do some exercises. Now that is in itself that you challenge shoppers, that's not new. But what is new is that those shoppers sort of started communicating about it, posting it about
they
it.
Started talking about the 28-day challenge through social media.
Yes. And our solution helped capture whatever that shopper was doing and to reward them. And a reward can be giving points, it can be giving discounts, it can be giving unique...
So you're building a connection between the brand and the retailer over an objective that the consumer actually has, and the retailer can help enable that and encourage them in that direction. And that's value.
Yes, and what makes it unique is that shoppers generate zero-party data. Because it's them that take a picture of their breakfast.
So it's now consensual first party. They are actually actively giving that in and saying, we're letting you know this is what we're thinking.
And the unique thing of it is that a retailer, for instance, does not only have the cash receipts, so does not only see the ingredients, but now they actually see what shoppers do with these ingredients, how they use it, and shoppers communicate about what matters to them. And they do that on their social channels. So it's not only that they consent with the zero-party data, but they also communicate to the people around them. And that's what makes it huge. And it's a solution, by the way, that we will not only position for food retailers, but we also believe it's a unique, and we also already see that because of we get a lot of interest from the CPG community.
Brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, anything that will crack the communication between the brand and the consumer, I think will have a lot of value these days, because that's like the big challenge for CPGs.
Yes.
So
and that yesterday we also heard that in some of these talks that when it is about loyalty, what you see is that, especially also with Gen Z, that they tend to reward to be more loyal to retailers than to CPG brands. And the challenge for CPG brands is to build that experience and to do unique stuff. And this can be a powerful way to do so.
Brilliant.
And you know that the CPG guys do the US.
Yes.
The FMCG guys do Europe. So obviously you're giving examples from both sides of the Atlantic.
Yes.
So
we do it. So we've run these campaigns now in the US, but we also run them in Italy, for instance, with Esselunga, and it was. We will be doing a lot more in Europe very shortly. But also, for instance, in Canada, we did with campaigns with IGA, Sobeys, and it's a solution it took quite a while to develop, and we have recently launched it, and now we are you will be hearing and seeing a lot about it.
So you know that the CPG guys cover the US, we cover Europe. So I'm very curious to know, from your perspective, working with retailers on both sides of the Atlantic, what are the key differences?
How do you learn? And let me tack on it. How do you help bridge the gap and help them learn from each other around building these loyalty connections with their consumers?
Yeah, that's a great question. There are many differences. The US, for instance, has been light years ahead in terms of data capabilities, in terms of personalization, and also data monetization. It started in the US. I got to learn that also when I was in this role in Out. I saw these differences instantly, and my role was to replicate best practices. So what I did is to bring that data capability to Europe and data monetization to Europe. But in Europe, I think the European retail has been focused more on this average shopper. So where in the US it's much more about, it has been about personalization.
Yep.
You see a lot of couponing, but I feel that it is, although it is very much about personalization and about data, the difference between European retailers is that they have focused more on the European shoppers. They have focused on much more effective store formats. They are smaller, but they generate the same amounts of turnover. So that's a difference, I would say. And another clear difference is in general. It's not in every country in Europe, but in general, you see that private label penetration is much higher, significantly higher than it is in the US.
You're also going to see a lot of the brand assortment is more finite north of the border in Canada and over in Europe. Like you walk into a US superstore that has like 120,000 square feet, and you're going to find 5 brands and 2 private labels in a category. You don't see that in Europe with much smaller footprints.
Exactly, and that brings me to another also clear difference. In Vita we always call that the promotional share. So how much of your sales is generated by discounts. In the US, typically it can be 40%, can even be way above 50, 55%. That's quite usual. In European retail, you will see 20, 25, 30% at max.
Yeah.
So it's not only about the promotion, but it also says something about how you run a store.
And it sets expectations for the consumers.
Yes.
They know, like if I look at it at like carbonated soft drinks.
Yeah.
In the US, it is a tremendous price war.
Yes.
You go outside of North America, and it's a completely different type of a price value ecosystem.
Yeah, I'm biased, maybe, but I feel that European retail is a bit more clearer to shoppers than US retail.
Okay,
it's because I think coupons and promotions it's too much. So that's a difference. But you see 2 things. You see Europe catching up on personalization and data monetization, but you also see that US retail is building incredibly amazing stores with experiences that are top notch. So you sort of see that they are getting more alike.
Great. Listen, I want to say to our audience, make sure if you're not already doing so to follow the FMCG Guys and the CPG Guys on your favorite podcast platform, Apple, Spotify, whatever it is. And hey, if you're using a home assistant like Google Home or Alexa, you can actually say, hey, Alexa, play the CPG Guys podcast and play the FMCG Guys podcast. And they will. So it's really there. But please do follow us. And to the 33,000 followers that the CPG Guys have on LinkedIn, many of whom also follow are part of the 17,000 people now that follow the FMCG Guys. Welcome. That's just great. That's good news, Daniel. You got a lot of people.
I know.
You're closing in on us.
The numbers are growing quickly lately.
Are you my enemy or my frenemy now? I don't know.
Frenemy.
We're good friends. We're good friends. But anyhow, please, we're so grateful that you choose to listen to our podcast to help both educate yourself and be entertained by what we're doing. So that's great. I want to thank Rick Swinkels so much for coming on the podcast. Talk to us about what TCC is seeing in the evolution of retailers building loyalty, how brands play into that. We're so incredibly grateful that you chose to join us today to talk about what's going on. Thank you.
Thank you. It was a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
Daniel, what a great episode. Learned a lot today, everything about issues that retailers are dealing with, really focusing on value and understanding value means different things to different people and how you use data to tease that out, build audiences and then talk to them in a very personalized manner. There is no average shopper. I heard that loud and clear.
Yeah, I was like, honestly, I was thinking value like as the word, but I think we're a bit of a, like in a strange place in terms of like, as a race that nobody can win, pricing, disconnect with consumers. And I think that this is like a way forward, right? Like creating value, creating real connections, creating a dialogue with the consumer. I think this is a great value prop.
Well, thanks so much for doing the episode with me. We're all going to head back to the floor at GroceryShop and enjoy the last 2 days of this event. Thanks, Daniel, and as always, to our mutual audiences, we are so grateful that you chose to spend some time with us today, and we look forward to speaking with you on the next episodes of the FMCG Guys podcast, and wait for it,
the CPG Guys.
There we go. Thanks, everybody. Bye. The content in this podcast episode is provided for general informational purposes only. By listening to our episode, you understand that no information contained in this episode should be construed as advice from CPG Guys LLC or the individual author, hosts, or guests, nor is it intended to be a substitute for research on any subject matter. Reference to any specific product or entity does not constitute an endorsement or recommendation by CPG Guys LLC. The views expressed by guests are their own, and their appearance on the program does not imply an endorsement of them or any entity they represent. The views expressed by CPG Guys LLC do not represent the views of their employers or the entity they represent. CPG Guys LLC expressly disclaims any and all liability or responsibility for any direct, indirect, incidental, special, consequential, or other damages arising out of any individual's use of, reference to, or inability to use this podcast or the information we present in this podcast.